Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So now, as part of the phase two of our discussion, I'm going to discuss following topics. The first topic is Docker architecture. Okay. Now, second topic is components, Docker components. Okay. Third topic is Docker workflow. And then I'm going to discuss about Docker installation. After the Docker installations, I'm going to work with the container life cycle. This will be a demo and so on. So these are the 5 topics which I'm going to talk about it. Okay, and get going. Okay, so there's one question in the chat window. Let me address. When possible, share real-time example of pros and cons of Docker compared to virtual machines. Comparison is not making any sense here. And the reason is we are learning the Docker now. We have not learned the Docker. If you know 2 things, then comparing is easy. If I say, let's say 10 topics about the containers, which you don't know, and a virtual machine, which you know, then the wise comparison will happen only when you know the container. And the moment you know the container, you don't have to ask this question because you get automatically. Understand that? Because you know the containers, you were knowing the virtual machines, you get the answers. Okay, so let's focus on the knowing the containers. The moment you know the containers, you get to know pros and cons. Make sense? Okay, so these are the 5 topics which I'm going to discuss now. So guys, we have an architecture. First question is, we have an architecture. So every architecture we are involved actually. We are there all the time. Human, we are there. But you know what? We need to talk to someone. If you remember, we need to talk to this guy. This is the Docker. Okay, this is the Docker. We need to talk to this guy. Okay, so how do we talk? So in the machine itself, where you install the Docker, there is one client which is called Docker client. Okay, Docker client. So human talk to the Docker client. Means human send the command to Docker client through Docker client. Now this client talk to the Docker daemon. Sometime you call it a daemon, sometime you call it server. It's up to you. Okay, so this client and this daemon is basically a part of the Docker. So we send the instruction to client and client send the instruction to daemon. But guys, you know one thing, daemon also have no direct interaction with the kernel. They use, there is one tool called container D. Yeah, can human directly interact with the container D? Possible. But when it comes for Docker, we interact to the client interact with the daemon, daemon send the instruction to container D. But the question is, what is a container D? What is a container D? So if I want to know what is a container D, I get to know something which is industry standard container runtime. In a simple way, if I tell you, anyone who wants to create a container. So for creating a container, remember what do you need? You need all these resources. How do you get this? You need to get it from the kernel. So if anyone wants to create a container technology and they want to create a container runtime environment, they use the container D. So yes, many vendors, Docker is not alone technology. Many vendors, those who wants to manage the container, they basically talk to container D, and container D has the ability to talk to the kernel, and kernel has all the resources, namespaces, C groups and capabilities, and they instantiate one depends on this stuff like that. So basically guys, this is an industry standard container runtime. Again, by the way, it's a free product. If you have interest, go ahead with this website or this product. You can download it from here. This as part of the installation, it will be installed automatically. So guys, container D and container D talk to the kernel to get all the resource allocation done. You know what? These things together, we call it Docker aka Docker engine. Yeah. Remember when Docker was introduced with the name, brand name with the Docker, at that time Docker was a Docker engine and Docker was a company name. But now Docker has a many products. Docker engine is one of them. They have a Swarm, they have a registry services and many other services. They have a cloud services, enterprise and all many things are there. So when I say Docker, that means we believe we are talking about the Docker engine. And when we talk about the Docker engine, we believe we are talking about Docker client and Docker server together. You know, one thing more, this Docker client to Docker daemon, this interaction happened through REST API. Yeah, correct. This between the client and the daemon, this interaction happened with the REST API. That means these two, client and daemon, can be in the same server or it can be outside of the server. So client can be here and daemon can be here. It can be possible because it's a REST API HTTP call. I mean local host way, not HTTP call, sorry. So this way REST API. Okay, so this is the Docker architecture. Human talk to the client talk to the daemon server, and daemon talk to the container D talk to the kernel, and kernel has everything managed by Docker engine. Is that clear for everyone? Any doubts?
Rajesh, one doubt, like Docker client can be on a different system, but daemon has to be in the host system, right? Where we are
Creating container. So yeah,
creating
the Docker daemon will be in the X machine. So container will be created in the X machine, no matter whether the instruction you send it from the different machine or same machine.
Okay. So container D and the Docker daemon has to be there, right, in the host machine.
Correct. Yes, you got it.
Thanks.
Okay, so now guys, component of Docker. This is very interesting, you know, and trust me, for this to understand, it took me 1 year. Trust me, in 2015, 16, I started, I think 15, sorry. 15, I started the container learning, working with the containers, you know. So much time it took me to understand components. What are the components? So guys, we have a 4 components in a Docker. Okay, One component we have a Docker engine. So now you know that I don't have to talk about it. Second component which you have is Docker registry. Third component which we have is Docker image. And fourth component which we have a Docker container. So now this is done. You know that what is a Docker engine. Here only we understand. We need to install it. Here I will teach you how to install it. Okay. Now, what is a Docker registry? So guys, Docker registry contain repository. Yeah, think simple. Docker registry contain repository, and repository contain file version of file system. Version of file system such as root, file system, CentOS, Ubuntu, Fedora, RHEL, all this thing, or a root file system plus apps. Apps means this is one. See here, Docker image, root user app. So look at this here. Docker registry contain repository. Repository contain version of file systems S. So this is root file system plus app such as Jenkins, Tomcat. So Tomcat, what will have? Tomcat will have both the things. Jenkins will have both the things. And this repository named as a Docker image. So when we say Docker image, just now I said right here. So it contains what? File system, multiple file system and versions of it. See here, repository, which is also you can call it a Docker image, contain version of file system such as this one. So this is a Docker registry. Let me give you one example, probably you'll get it easier. Registry means GitHub. GitHub is not repository. GitHub is a registry. On GitHub, you create a repository. Which repository? Git repository. And each Git repository contains what? Versions of file system. But which kind of file system? Not a root file system, not a this that. It contains the source code, your source code, file system, source code. So same way, we have public registry, anyone can access. hub.docker.com is a public registry. You can create a private registry also using Artifactory or Sonatype Nexus and stuff like that. So this is the registry concept. Has repository, we call it Docker image, and this contains version of file system such as it can be root file system also, or plus multiple things it can be also. So in a short, again I will come back to this topic little later also in detail, but at the high level, did you understand that what is Docker registry. Everyone?
Yes.
Great. So guys, in short, guys, Docker registry repository contains image. So what is image? I think I saved my time here. I explain you what is image. Okay. So guys, image contains alone, image contains file system, file systems. This system, it can be root file system, or it can be root file system plus Java plus Tomcat, or it can be root file system plus Java plus Tomcat plus app. So image you can have here also. We call it Java. Sorry, which we call it CentOS or CentOS image, Ubuntu image. Don't call it operating system, guys. I have explained it to you very clearly. Many people do this mistake actually. Don't call it. CentOS is not operating system. It's a flavor of file system based on the Linux kernel. Linux kernel is operating system. Okay, but nowadays because of the we just started telling CentOS OS. CentOS OS means when we see CentOS means flavor is CentOS, operating system is Linux. That way, understand that. When you say this one, so it can have a CentOS plus Java plus Tomcat. Here when we say, then here you have a CentOS plus Java plus, let's say, which application run on the Tomcat? Let's say Jenkins, like that. So this is called Docker image. Now Docker image, from where you to get it? Docker registry, where? hub.docker.com. So let me show you guys here. I go to the hub.docker.com. Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So guys, this is the Docker hub. You know, look at this. See how many images you get. All these images are free. More than 1 lakh of container image, you get it free of cost. It's up to you. See here, there's an official image. Official image means company itself have published those images. We have a verified images. You can search for images. Let's say Jenkins. I search for Jenkins. Jenkins is one applications. So you have a verified publishers, official image, images as per the category, as per the operating system. See Windows kernel. This is operating system, Linux and Windows, and this is the architecture. And different images you see here. You have to get comfortable. This is the one. Jenkins is, we call it an image, but also is a repository. How many number of downloads, stars supported by, look at this. Now you want to know more about it, go inside it. And here it is. So this is the hub.docker.com. What we get? Image, different image from registry. So there's one question in the chat window. The question is, one doubt, when we say root file system plus Java means all the files related to JDK and JRE are existing inside a container image, or they are shared from the host OS. No, they are not shared at all. I've been repeating this one. Remember this image? This container also get a mount, this container also get a mount. So they are not sharing, right? We are sharing. These guys are unfortunate, not this and this. We are unfortunate. We share the resources. Let's say I install the Java, you all can use it in my laptop, but they install the Java, they alone can use it. So not share, isolated. That's the reason I said right here. The container is independent runtime environment. Look at it. See here, fully independent runtime environment. Okay, independent. There's no relationship from outside. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
But guys, one thing you forgot. You need a boot file system. So boot file system, they get it from here. Okay. So this is the way. So now guys, next question, Docker container. You think you know the container? I hope so. I'm hoping, but I'll give you a different definition. When you run, remember run what? Docker image. Yes. With the help of Docker client. So see how it happens. Look at this. I said run this image to the Docker client. I said Docker run Ubuntu or Docker run what do you say this one Jenkins. These are the image name. So when we send this instruction, if it is right, send to the daemon. And daemon send this instruction. Daemon, what they do? They get the image first of all, download it. Daemon download it, and the moment they download that image, they send this instruction to container D. Container D has the ability to talk to the kernel, and so see what happens. Human to client, client to daemon, and daemon sent to the container D, and container D ask kernel. And so what is happening when you run Docker image with the help of with the help of client, kernel create one user. Yes, is it allowed? Yes. Same user, they mount with, right, mind it here, they mount with a file system from image which you got it, Docker image which you downloaded here. That means same user, they mount with the file system of image. That means whatever you have an image, you will see inside this container. And same user, they create one network and attached to the user, yeah, to the user, they create one network, one new network. Because how many network you can create? As many. Same user, they means kernel, create one PID and attach to the user. The user is equal to container. Now, did you understand that? Did you understand that? All of you. So guys, those who understood, can you please tell me in the chat window so I'll understand that? Those who have a doubts, please ask. Okay, so guys, this is the Docker components. Now next topic is Docker lifecycle. So what is the Docker lifecycle? Workflow. So what happens? I think you know by now. Human talk to the client, client talk to the daemon server, server check if image exists in local registry. Okay, local registry. Yes, then container D, kernel. You know that rest of the things. No, first download image from hub and then understood that this is the workflow. Simple. So this is what it happens. Now guys, so far what we have discussed is I've discussed architecture, then component, Docker engine, registry, Docker image, Docker container. Okay, and then workflows. And before installing the Docker, let me show you the container lifecycle. So here container lifecycle. So let's talk about the human lifecycle, guys. So anyone would like to comment on the human lifecycle? What is the human lifecycle? Anyone? I think guys, you all need to be more interactive because trust me, it's a 5 days of session, and if we do not talk to each other, this is going to be very hard for each one of us. So let's be interactive and keep asking questions. You know, stop me for anything. So that way it will be fun. Because it's not one day; it's a 5 days actually. So what is the human life cycle? Anyone would like to tell me?
It's starting with a birth.
Okay, so we born, and after that
We go to school.
we become a kid, then we become a teen, and then we become young, and then we become a mid stage, we reach to the mid stage, then we become old, and then die. I am at this stage right now. Okay, so this is the stuff. So now we have a human life cycle. So everything on this planet has a life cycle. Everything, in fact, universe itself has a life cycle, right? So same way, VM's life cycle. Let's discuss about the VM's life cycle. Guys, this technology, the one which you have worked with from last 20 years. I don't know how many of you have worked, many of you have worked with this, how many times, but I think we all use on a daily basis. So tell me, what is a VM's life cycle now? VMs, virtual machines. I'm not talking the container, virtual machines.
You create a VM instance.
Okay, yeah, we create a VM. After that, what we do?
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
We'll power on the VM.
Start the VM, wonderful.
Yeah.
After that,
configure the network.
That is the creating and
Yeah, it
starting
will be
process.
part of the VM itself. Yes.
Yeah. After that, what do you do? You stop the VM, right?
Top. Okay. Yeah.
Again, you start the VM. But who's going stop and start, restart better? Okay. You might have seen that option. I don't know how many of you people need to be more promptive. So I'll understand that. Here you see, you go and VMware or VirtualBox everywhere have these options: start, stop, restart, all this stuff. But guys, if it is a restart, I can pause also. I don't know how many of you have paused it, but we have unpause also. You can pause, unpause, again running. You can kill also. Okay, and you can then remove it. So these are the things you do from last 20 years with the VMs. This is life cycle. Okay, but the question was not VMs and human. Question was container. So guys, container also has the same life cycle similar to VM. Yes, you can create a container from what? Image. You know that. What happens? I have told you. Please read it one more time. I said when you run a Docker image with the help of client, this all instruction travel till here, and then kernel create one user. Same user they attach with the one file system, but that is from the image itself. That means user will see only whatever you have an image. What you have an image? I have discussed that one here. And here same user get attached to the new network, and same user get attached to the one a new PID. Okay, PID. So this is what it happens. So you can create a container, start the container, then stop the container if you're not using. Again, start the container. You can restart the container, stop and start. Pause the container, unpause the container, kill the container, remove the container. But you know what? I have a few doubts here. And the doubts is, what is a pause? What is the meaning of pause? What happens technically? What happens when you pause the container? And what happens when you unpause the container? What
State.
happens when you stop the container and when you kill the container? What is the difference? Because this is something confusing me and you want to know the difference. So guys, please mind it. I'm getting confused here. Pause versus unpause, stop versus kill. You also need to help me out. You also need to teach me. So I'll come back to this. How can you teach me? But mind it, these questions I'm having in my mind and I need answers from you. Okay. So guys, in short, you want to know containers. That means you want to work with a container. That's called container lifecycle. Create, start, stop, start, restart, pause, unpause, kill, and remove. Simple. Can I do one thing? Can I remove a container which is running, started? Is it possible?
No, you tell us to stop before doing.
Simple concept, guys. Do you remember that some files you are trying to, you are accessing and you are trying to delete, you get this price, this file has been used by some other process, something like that. So yes, you cannot remove something which is being used by some process, and container is user. User is a process. Those things I will come back to you. I'll show you some demo, then you will be having more good memories to understand these technologies. But yeah, container lifecycle. Okay, and after that, I'm going to teach you Docker installation. This is something where I cannot discuss anything, but rather installing through the demo. So now the demo time has started for me, for each one of you. Before that, if you have any questions on these topics, which includes what is Docker, what each container, okay, Docker architecture, Docker components, Docker workflow, and lifecycle. If you have any questions on these topics, please do let me know. I'll help you with it.
Like I have doubt on Docker pull image pulling. It
Docker,
will check based of image pulling. Like it will check based upon the checksum, or like suppose I have in my local VM I have the copy of latest some Docker image. So somebody updated the local with the new content in the Docker app. So how the Docker will pull? Like it will pull like I have the latest in my local that one, or it will verify to the Docker app whether anything updated like checksum or something changed. Like with
not
tag, so it will
not with
download.
the checksum actually. I will not confuse you the too many technicals right now, because day 2 we have a session on on creating a Docker image. So probably if I talk about those stuff later, it will be more meaningful. But here, if you look at this, check if image exists. So image has a certain names. If you see here, look at this here. Registry contain repository. Repository has certain named as a Docker image. Okay, so
Okay.
Jenkins is the name of the image. Ubuntu is the name of the image or registry. So what they will do, they will check that registry whether it's exist or not. Repository. See here, check if image means the registry repository exists in a local registry. If yes, then move on. Now the question you ask probably whether the image is the latest or not, that is the inbuilt validations always has been there, and that we can, once you get comfortable with the image layers concept, versioning concept, then you will get this. Yeah, by default they will make sure that the latest must be there in your local. Okay, okay, if it is not there, then it will download again from the hub and then follow this stuff. Yeah, more questions guys?
In Docker image, is it Java and Tomcat a default?
In the Docker image Java, so here if you look at this in image, see this is the image. So image you can have directly from the root file system, or if you need a Java, then put it together. But if you need a Tomcat, all these things together, or Jenkins. So it's up to you. You can go for alone this one, or
Okay.
these two, or these three, or all of it. It's up to you. The developer of the image developer, I'll teach you how to become a Docker image developer. So that is there. So you will decide whether you want the only base image, which is this one, or everything else you want to keep it inside.
Okay.
More questions guys? Okay, so the time has come when I should show you the installation. So just give me 2 seconds.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I'm going for the one CentOS image for the demo. So one of the EC2 instance which I create right now for the demo. Continue. And here security groups. I have a no firewall with me. Selected one of my keys. And view instances. Okay, so this is my IP address. Username I'm having, which is CentOS. I have a key which I'm having with me, and I'm going to use this for the installations. Okay, so let's access through the PuTTY. I'm sure you must have familiarity with working with the PuTTY. Those who's not having familiarity with the PuTTY, you can see me using it. And this is the place where I put the IP address and then click open. But you know what? I have a keys. So if you click on the open, then it will prompt for the password, something like this. Okay, it will prompt you the username and password. But unfortunately, I don't have it. So what, see here. Yes, CentOS. Now I don't have a password here. So I have keys. So keys, I have to predefine it. So this is the one. And oath, ppk file, and colors. Here. So username is CentOS. And you know what? Normal user cannot install any software. I'm installing the Docker software, right? So I need a sudo permission, or I want to become a root. But at the same time, you know what? Docker command also need root access, or user must be a part of Linux group called Docker. One of these conditions has to be fulfilled. If you want to send the command from the client to the daemon, either you be root with the sudo, or directly you be root, or the user, normal user, be a part of the called Docker. If this is the criteria is matching, wonderful. I will fulfill the first criteria, I'll become a root itself. So this is for Docker itself, and in fact installing the Docker itself and Docker command also, both the things. So this is the way. So now if I go to the installation documents, where is the installation documents? So the installation document is tutorial Docker. Okay, so this is the installation document which you have. Right now I'll be following the same document also, but you have to look at it very carefully, and don't run any commands blindly. You should be having some reasons for it. So if you want to uninstall the older version, you can uninstall, and from here you have to install. Now there is a two ways using that you can install it. One is using yum, and another one is using rpm package. also. And by the way, you can do through script also. So this script you can run and get this done. But I am helping you to yum ways. This is the one. Okay. So yum ways, I'm helping you with it. So let's get started. So here I'm already the root.
Do we parallelly start installing Docker in our VM images?
No problem. Just I'll give you the time. Just give me some more time. I know that I'm taking too much of time, but just give me some more time. So from now onwards, what I will do, 15 minutes demo, I'll give it to you, and then 20 minutes lab, I'll give it to you. So that way we will not miss. But if you run the parallel, it's very difficult to, match the stuff. Again, this notes which I'm writing it for you, I mean, it's for you also. I'll give you all these notes at one location, which you can access it. Just focus on the steps, not the great steps I'm doing. Just copying and pasting, that's all.
Okay.
Again, many of you must be knowing all this yum command, not very difficult to understand. But let's say some of you are beginner in Linux and all, so you can little bit of Google it before running it. What is a yum? What exactly packages I'm installing? Some of the things you can work with it. See, already installed. I'm verifying, guys. Installation is done. The version which I'm having is right now is 20. That's cool. So you have to enable it for tomorrow and start it Docker. So now Docker started. Confirmation you can make through this command. Now guys, you understand or not? If you understand the output or not a problem, but you have to read it. Yeah, this is the client. This is the server. Server has all the information, containers, some operating system informations. Read it. Registry, remote one, local one. This is the address of hub.docker.com. So go through that and spend some time. Again, I repeat, you understand it or not understand it, see that. Okay, so installation is successful. It was not very difficult. I'll not run this command, it's not useful. So which Docker? Where is the client? Can we see the Docker D? This is a server, Docker server, Docker daemon. Okay, where is the container D? So this is the client, send the instruction to this is the daemon. Daemon send the instruction to the container D. This is what I was talking about. here. And kernel send the construction instructions to kernel. So guys, this is your Docker installation. Did you find any difficulties installing the Docker? Docker version? Okay. This is the server version. This is the client version. If you want to know Docker health, so many commands which we have to learn from here. So these are the command. Overall, I run as a root. As a root. That's all. So guys, any confusion so far? Any questions so far?
So if you log in at our private registry, like in Artifactory or some other Docker registry, it will show that URL instead of Docker.
Yeah. There's a two ways. Either you change the default registry, which is from the Docker Hub to your Artifactory URL HTTPS, or over the command line also you can ad hoc basis give the full URL of Artifactory and you can use it.
Okay.
More questions, guys? Great. So now guys, next thing, I showed you how to install it, but you know what? I need to show you the demo for the life cycle. This is what we will do every day. So how to work with the container? Remember, creating a container come from the image. Remember, when you run Docker image with the help of client, all this thing magically happen. So you need an image, guys. So image, you can have it anything. You can have a CentOS image. Do you want it? Let me go and check hub.docker.com. I click on the CentOS image. And here you have a CentOS image. Are you thinking CentOS is the operating system? Please do not. You know that here I'm talking about the flavor. Here I'm talking about the root file system, not a kernel. That means this image, you have only root file system, no kernel, not a boot file system. Never ever say is a operating system. Okay. They also see, they did not say operating system. See here, the official build of CentOS is a file system, is a flavor. Make sense? All of you are getting me what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah. But you know what? I will come back to this point later. I want something like a Jenkins. So guys, can you please do let me know how many of you have used Jenkins in the past? In the chat window, do let me know. Okay, great. So those who have not worked, let me tell you, give you the little bit of background. Jenkins is a web-based tool. Web-based means browser. Runs on 8080 port. Okay. Jenkins need Java to run it. So it's like this. Jenkins will have some base image on top of the Java and top of the Jenkins. This is called Jenkins image. That's all. So when I say Jenkins, in this image, you will have everything together. I could have gone to the base image and run it, the container. But I want to help you to some applications. So, and then we get back to the base image. So first experience the applications. Remember,
So
Jenkins.
it needs Tomcat or Nginx, that's web server, or it has inbuilt, it has Jenkins.
Jenkins war file you can run directly with the Java without Tomcat. Though you can deploy Jenkins war file in the Tomcat also. In this scenario, without a Tomcat, but this is also possible. Okay, it depends on your application, how it runs. Okay, so it's this one. Now, like this, you can have so many other tools also, like a SonarQube, Jira, Artifactory. All these tools you get the images. So let's look for the Jenkins image for time being. These images are official image and freely available. See here, Jenkins image, and I click on it. See here. How can you get this image? Pull that. Okay, pull that image. By the way, this image got deprecated and the timing is more than 2 years. So what they are saying, use this one. So I clicked on that. So this is the pull this image now. Okay, great. So you got this information. So can I pull this? So guys, here, do we have any images? Docker images command? None. You know what? I can pull the images also manually if you really want to do that by running this command. But also, this is the default functionality. If images they will not found during the creation of the container, Docker also will download, pull it on behalf of you. But right now I'm doing it manually because I want to show you. And Docker image is being pulled. Great. So now guys, can I see the Docker images right now? See, this is the repository.
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
Tagged with the latest image ID. This is a SHA 256 created 4 days ago and size. This is the image which contains Jenkins. Okay, so now I got this here. After that, I want to create a container. So before that, I would like to teach you a few more commands, guys. One of the command is docker ps. What exactly doing? So guys, docker ps will tell you how many containers you have which is running. Yes, Docker PS command will tell you running container. But if you want to know running, created, stop, exited, all sort of it, A stand for all. So right now I have no container, but I know that Docker PS is the command, or Docker PS space -a is the command to know about it. Okay, so I created a container. Okay, sorry, I checked the container is not created. Sorry. So now I will create a container. So guys, I have no container. I have an image. So can I create a container? Docker create. I create a container from the image Jenkins. Enter. Container got created. So guys, each container when they get created, this is the unique identification created by SHA-256 algorithm. Okay, this is the container ID, which will be unique in the whole system. Okay, now if you see here Docker PS, is it running? No, it's not running. So can I PS-A? You see, this is a short form for the long format, this one of 40 character. Short format. From the image, this container has a command set for this. Created this container 30 seconds ago. Status is created, and each container you get some name. You see it's some Doomy blog. I don't understand. This name is being created dynamically. I have no control over there. But can I create one more container? But this time, you know what? I want to create a container with a specific name. So hyphen a name. What is the name? Let's say Jenkins 1. One more container. And you see here, I got the 2 container. But this time, let me just minimize this. See, I got the 2 container, but this time the name which I gave it. So can I create one more container with the same name? Not possible. See here, name already has been used. So it's not possible to create a container with the same name. So that means name is also unique. ID is also unique. So can you use the name? Yes. Can you use the ID? Yes. Okay. So this is the way I just created a container. Can I start it? Docker start. Container ID or name. Started it. Can I see that? See here. See here. This container is up. This container is created. Can I create one more container? Docker create hyphen a name Jenkins 2 and image name. I think spelling mistake somewhere I might have done it, or there's a one more extra additional hyphen. See here, Docker PS-A. So right now I have one created, second created, one is up. Can I up one second one also? Starting. Here it is. Docker PS-A. Okay. So let me make it a little bit more shorter. I hope it is visible. See here. So one container is up. Second container is also up. Third container created. So here I am just following this rule. Created, started, stop it. So this is up, right? Can I stop it? So Docker stop it. You can use this container ID or you can use the name also. No problem. Stop it. Container got exited. So I learned something from here, and learning is you get a status exit if the container has run at least once. It was running, so you got exit. Earlier, if it has not run ever, this container has not run ever, so the status is created. Simple. So it got exited because it has run earlier. So can you do one thing? Can I start it back? This container. So Docker start this container. And you see here, up 1 second. So I started the container. Can I restart it? So this container, what I will do, which is running from last 1 minute, I am going to restart it. So Docker restart it. Here it is. And see, 3 seconds. So container got restarted. What do you want? Pause. So Docker pause, and this container I'm pausing. See here, it's a paused one. Okay, can I unpause it? Here it is. Done. But you know guys, I'm not able to understand what is a pause versus unpause. What has happened? So this we will research later. Okay, this we will research later. But now I want to kill it. Which container I should kill it? So let me kill this container which was created but never run. Oh, I can kill the container only if it is running. That is an error message. So I have to use, yeah, I kill this. I kill this, then also got exit. I stopped the container, then also I got exit. How come? What is the difference between kill and stop? That questions I'm having it. I need answers for it. I need answers for it. And we'll work on it. I'll tell you when to find out the answers and all, but I need these answers from you. The question is very simple. What is a pause versus unpause? What is a stop versus kill? Okay. Now guys, I will follow this here. After the kill, I'm going to remove it.
10 minutes ಉಂಟು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಬೆತ್ತ ಇದಾರಡದೇನ
Sir, I think you have to
ಈ
mute
ಒಳಗೆ
yourself.
ಬಜಾರ್ ರೋಡ್ ಇದ್ರಬಲ್ಲ ಏನು 6 ರೋಟೆ ಬರ್ಪೆ ಕಂಡ ಆಡಾತೆ
Sir, you have to mute yourself. Yeah. So guys, here I have a one container created, another exited, stop, and one is running. So can I remove it? So can I remove the running container? Oh, I cannot remove. Why is running? Can I remove the created container? Done. Can I remove the exited container? Done. So that means I got the containers removed. So it's, you see here, so easy actually, so easy to go through the life cycle. You want to create a container, start the container, stop the container, start it again, restart it, pause, unpause, kill, remove. Very simple. And these commands which I run in front of you, which I'm going to share the notes with you. So from last 22 line number, which is here, these are the commands. So guys, Did you find any difficulties working with the containers also? Any questions? All of you?
No, clear.
Great. Okay, guys. So the time has come to revise a little bit. And once we revise, after that, we'll go for the lunch break. And once we come back from the lunch break, I'll give you the lab and then followed by the same model, 15 minutes demo, 20 minutes lab or something like that. And I'll help you during the lab as well. Okay. So let's recap the stuff. We spent good amount of time on many things actually. So here we discuss about what is Docker. Then we discuss about what is container. And then we learned container is nothing but just like us, but they are privileged one. We are not privileged one. Okay. We understand this one most important question which you have to deep dive into that, because the more you deep dive in this topic, you will learn lots of good exciting learnings about the kernels and stuff like that. So what are the resources needed for the running app? And we understand the concept of operating system, kernel, namespace, type of namespace, allowed, not allowed, and all stuff like that. C groups, capabilities. You need a more reading actually, to be honest. Okay. And then we discuss about how we evolve the evolution of computing from physical server to virtualization server and virtualization to containerization. This is how we evolve actually. And then we understand the concept of file system, which was very important as per my thinking, because I used to confuse a lot when I started Docker. Okay. But somehow I could build my understanding with this, and this is what I expressed to you. Okay. So you have to, differentiate between the file systems. And then OS image contain boot, root, user, and app. Container contains, Docker image contains root, user, and app file system. Then we discuss about what Docker architectures, which includes client, daemon, containerd, kernel, and I installed it also and I showed you. Discuss about the Docker components, which includes Docker engine, registry, hub.docker.com, images, and containers. And then Docker workflow. And then finally, container lifecycle. So guys, overall, these are the topics which we have covered so far. I hope you have by now, you have understood what is a Docker, what is a container, and how to work with it. And so you can move on to the next topic.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan, and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.